Yes, I like to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to make sure that I read the relevant section of the standing order. Just a second. Okay, thank you very much. No, this is subsection 10 first. I'm on standing order 10.3. It has been moved and seconded that the following businesses be included in the order paper for today. That is the supplementary estimates of expenditure for the fiscal year 2018 by the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, and 2, the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018 by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs. Those.
My point of observation.
Sorry.
Point of observation.
Yes, Honorable Member for.
I would like the Honorable Member for Upper Salem to refer us to the standing order before we commence business, because he said standing order 10, which...
Yes, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I was referring to standing order number 10, sub 3, that reads, the order of business... The order of business as set out in paragraph 2 may be varied by the Speaker in case of emergency. And I want that for the Speaker to grant me leave so that we can add those 2 points on the order paper for today.
Madam Speaker. Thank you. Honorable Member for. There's a light penetrating right into my eyes. Upper Fuladu West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The relevant section of the standing order, the Honorable Member for Upper Salem has quoted, if it is not for presumption, I think it's very clear here the procedure to follow that. It says that the order of business as set out in paragraph 2 may be verified by the Speaker in case of emergency. Number one, my question is, what is emergency here? And secondly, it says, or with the agreement of the majority leader. I think the consent of the majority leader also needs to be sought here to make sure that it is the case. I don't see the need to say it's an emergency. It's almost 11:30 in the morning, almost 12, midnight in the Gambia. I don't see why we should sit on this now. And this was not tabled before the whole day. So I think we should actually just not allow this to be the case.
Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Basically, it is exactly what the Honorable Member is asking for, that we are in the 11th hour at 11:30 at night. In fact, that's the main reason why I'm bringing this as an emergency. Knowing that tomorrow we do not have a sitting, that's the reason why I'm bringing this today, because we are almost late in the night, and we want to add this to the business so that we can finish the business of the day today, and that's the reason why it's an emergency, and he has already confirmed on his own that we are in the 11th hour of the order paper today. Thank you.
In actual fact, honorable members, the subsection 3 is very specific. It says the order of business as set out in paragraph 2, that is above, may be varied by the Speaker in case of emergency or. So I am using my powers in case of emergency. And that is an option, either in case of an emergency or with the agreement of the majority leader. And that is the position that I am taking. So can we move, please? Thank you. It has already been seconded. The vote has already been taken. Sorry. Clerk, can we please move?
Motion. Supplementary estimates of expenditure for the fiscal year 2018 by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs.
Yes, honorable member for Upper Salum.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have another motion. Rising, Honorable Speaker, to move a motion that the Assembly rescind its earlier decision on the supplementary appropriation of expenditure of 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, cognizant of Standing Order 36 of Subsection 3.1, which I would like to read. (36.3). It shall be out of order to attempt to reconsider any specific question upon which the Assembly has already taken a decision during the current session, except upon a motion to rescind that decision made with the permission of the Speaker, and of which notice shall not be required. And it is on the basis of that provision that I wish to permit the honorable member for Upper Salum, as he has sought, to move a motion for the Assembly to rescind its earlier decision on the supplementary estimates of expenditure 2018 before it could be reconsidered by the Assembly in this current session. Honorable member. He has already done that, yeah. He has already moved the motion. Now, seconder. Anybody to second that motion? Yes, Larikunda Saviji.
I rise to second the motion.
Thank you very much. It has been seconded. No, actually, it has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do rescind its earlier decision on the supplementary estimates of expenditure for the fiscal year 2018. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Can we then proceed, please, clerk? Can you call the honorable?
Motion. Supplementary estimates of expenditure for the fiscal year 2018 by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Speaker, I hereby move the motion of supplementary estimates of expenditure for fiscal year 2018. The budget entity, Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, budget line, consultancy airlifting of Cuban doctors, amount 28,471,700. Justification. Sometime this week, a group of nurses took to the streets to demonstrate on the late arrival of Cuban doctors. In order to avoid any further escalation of tensions, we deem it a high priority to provide funds necessary for the airlifting of these doctors to ensure timely arrival of doctors in order to avoid delays in the teaching practicals of Gambian nurses at the School of Nurses. Centralized service confirmed debts, ITFC Petroleum Importance Facility for NAWEC. The NAWEC ITFC facility is guaranteed by government, and since NAWEC is in no position to service the facility for December, it is only prudent that the government steps in to bail out the situation. Failure of this will result to the suspension of the country's portfolio of all Islamic Development Banks funded activities. This will have far-reaching consequences as ISDB funding is spread across all the key critical sectors of the Gambia, from education, health, agriculture, energy, etc. In addition, the suspension may put excessive pressure on the Gambian dalasi, thus further impacting on the exchange rates of the dalasi against the United States dollars, thereby leading to potential price increase in major commodities such as rice, domestic fuel prices. Seeds and farming equipments to farmers below market price, and as such, the price difference between the government prices and world market prices always borne by government to lessen the impact of higher world market prices to our local farmers. It is in this light that the Ministry of Finance and Foreign Affairs is putting forward to the Honorable Assembly for consideration for subsidizing farmers to improve productivity and value addition in agriculture. Ministry of Defense, wages and salaries, 32,500,000. Again, this August Assembly is quite aware that after the regime change, a panel was set up by government to look into wrongful dismissals of public officials. As such, recommendations for reinstatements were made by the panel with drawbacks payments for the reinstated officers. It must be noted that most of these dismissals were high-profile officials, and as such, a drawback for a large number of officers not budgeted for will imply excess budget overruns for the affected institutions. Ministry of Interior, wages and salaries, 373,055. It is the same argument as we said in the Ministry of Defense. Ministry of Basic Education, again, these are statutories, wages and salaries, the shortfall, the 89,033,652. The grand total that we are requesting for is 585,930,285.76. Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second.
Sorry, my mic wasn't on. I'm sorry.
Okay. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I rise to second the motion for the amount before us demanded by the Ministry of Finance through the Minister of Finance to be approved, so that the problem stated could be solved before the end of the day. On that note, thank you. I beg to resume my seat.
Member, excuse me. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the supplementary estimates of expenditure for the fiscal year 2018. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Any honorable member who wishes to take part may do so, please. Yes, honorable member for Opanyomi, thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, the reason advanced by the minister on this bill, to me, is not convincing. And I am not supporting this supplementary appropriation bill. I stand by my previous position. I cannot be a man of two multiples of tongues in your mouth. I cannot be that person. We are sent by Gambian people to this assembly. We are not here to please anybody, no matter what. Honorable members, we have to be very, very careful. Our credibility is at stake. Our credibility is at stake. What is the problem? At this day and hour of the year, why are they forcing us to approve this bill? For what? Are there any ulterior, remote, intentional, or whatsoever behind it? I don't know. So we have to be very, very careful. Honorable Minister, Honorable Speaker, we passed a law here in 2017 about this vehicle policy. It was not adhered by the executive. Now the executive are forcing us, after against the bill or whatsoever, to act contrary again about what we have already said. What is wrong with us? Madam Speaker, on that note, I'm just ending my intervention. Let the Gambian people be aware that I don't support this bill in totality. And I maintain my position still. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Jimara, yes.
Madam Speaker, I think this supplementary bill was brought here some times back, and I was among those who rejected. Still now, I will maintain it. It's just less than a week, the President came from Jawara for laying a foundation stone for the bridges and some roads. And he spent a lot of $1 million. He knows that his government cannot pay December salary. He will have used those $1 million to pay the salary before they bring this so-called, I don't know what and what, to the parliament. So I will not support it, and I will maintain my position. I will never support it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the reasons put forward by the Honorable Minister, to me, I'm not least comfortable with them. One concerning about payment to NAWEC. Yes, we know that, if they owe any other group or any other, organization. My friend, the budget came here and we look at the areas in the budget. We know that, NAWEC is not, tied by hand. They are not going to kill the director. They are not going to kill the entire NAWEC staff if this thing is not approved. We are at the end tail of the year. The minister should have, factored this thing in the 2019 budget. What is the problem with us? Coming to the Cuban doctors, the strike that those people did was not only about, nurses, whether they have lecturers or not. It was about the duration of the courses that they are doing, not only on their lecturers. So what's wrong with us? This parliament is a parliament that we must honor our words. If we don't honor our words, let all of us resign. We are not fit to be here. Yes, we resign. That's a simple thing. If we cannot serve the interests of the people, let's resign. And we are protecting the interests of... I don't allow you, please. I don't allow you. This is opinion. On my feet. No. I'm on my feet. I'm on my feet.
For your turn.
You wait for your turn. Do you understand? So what we are saying is we still live by our words. We are not convinced. We are not convinced. We are not yet convinced by what is being put forward. You cannot wait until this dire minute. You want to force us to accept something that we don't, in fact, scrutinize and see. I'm not in support of it.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Joshua.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. As the other members did, I will also state clearly that I support the SAP as it is brought. I will disappoint you to confess. I was one of those who campaigned on the ground, despite being a member of the FPAC, to have the initial bill rejected. My basis then was, I was confident that salaries, civil servant salaries, was already processed. That was my understanding. Now I have different information. And I don't think the Auditor General, who has the second most important oversight institution, having his other charges rejected in the previous bill and not included in this bill, will try to convince us that if we do not approve this, salaries will not be paid. There is a misunderstanding, Honorable Speaker. There are people going around telling people that salaries has been paid. Let us understand, those institutions who are subvented, the National Audit Office, the judiciary, those people might have their salaries paid. But anybody whose salary is being processed by the Accountant General, including this National Assembly, will not have salaries. I know some of us will say we can forgo our salaries. Yes, we can. But let's be fair. The people that we always say we are fighting for, the poor teachers that we always claim will go salaryless for this month. Do we want that? I will not be a part. I think the greatest mistake we can make in life is to continually fear that we will make a mistake. Admitting our mistake is being wise and mature. I've made a mistake which I wish to rectify. I'm not approving the initial SAB as it was laid. The revised SAB that tries to solve the problem of people having their salaries, I'm in support of that. And I want that to be recorded. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, let me thank the Minister of Finance for a simple reason. During a conversation, he said he never wants to violate the law of this country. What he is asking for is for the National Assembly to give him the authority to spend. That means that he could have used the back way, spend money, which is illegal. That he don't want to do. I think, Honorable Minister, I must applaud you for that. Honorable Speaker, the justification forwarded for this National Assembly to reconsider, actually, for me, it convinced me. At the beginning, I was in Nigeria. I even made a call here. But when I realized citizens cannot get their salary, and we said we are representing these people, for us to endorse, they are giving their statutory, which is statutory, for this National Assembly now to endorse, for the citizens to get their salaries, we said no. Are we representing the citizens? Then we are not representing them. Okay, look at the first bullet point, that under the Ministry of Health. These are students. We always advocate here that we need better education, especially at our northern sector. Then we are saying, no, we are not going to endorse that. And these are our younger brothers and our younger sisters who voted us to come here. We can make mistakes at the beginning. If we are not fully informed, we can reject. And it happened here in this parliament. The framework agreement that was brought here, when we were not satisfied, we rejected it. But later on, when we were fully informed, we bring it back to Parliament and reconsider it. It's the same procedure. For me, Honorable Speaker, if it left for me to vomit and eat it again, the citizens pay their salary, I agree. If that is the case for me, I accept to vomit and take it back for the citizens of this country to get their due. The salary includes our security forces, who are down there both day and night. Some of them don't sleep. They are protecting us. We will go into our houses, have nice sleep, while some of them are in the cold, or in the heat, or outside in risky places. We said we will not endorse for them to be paid their salary. Are we fair to our security forces? I think we have to revisit our mind and then endorse this thing. The citizens, the Gambian, sent us here to Parliament definitely to represent them, and this is part of our representation. The minister could have go through the back way and then pay salaries, but he said he's not going to do it. We are the authority. We will give him the authority to spend the money. He told us he is not going. The money is there lying down. But he needs to legitimize it through the Parliament. Our farmers, these poor farmers, are the people who mostly participate in our politics. We said we are not going to endorse for our farmers for the fertilizer that government is subsidizing. How are these farmers going to look at us? How are they going to see us, honorable members? The entire bill was 1 point something billion. If we agree to slice it almost up to half, where the one that we believe is a matter of urgency and they are statutory, I don't think somebody have to blame us for approving that. Honorable members, I urge you people, let's look at this thing correctly. Let's reflect our minds and know that we are representing the citizens of this country, and what the minister is giving on, it is affecting the people we represent directly. Today, Honorable Speaker, normally the Ministry of Finance, if we are on Tobaski Feast, they pay salary as early as on the 15th. But today, Christmas, by Monday, Tuesday, Christmas feast will start until today. And we all want to be treated equally. I think, honorable members, this is not about, certain personal sentiment. Let's look at what the minister gave us. In fact, let's not look at maybe if the minister is faulty. But if he gives us the correct justification, I don't see no reason why we will not approve it. Honorable members, I beg your indulgence. Let's look at this thing with our free minds. Let's bring our consent back and then give a minister to support the minister to go and we approve this thing. Let him go and pay the citizen. Look at the minister since in the morning. He is going in and out. Do we think it is his interest? It's not his interest. It's the interest of the Gambian. Since in the morning, he is going in and out, just for him to do the right thing. Because in case we default or we disapprove this one, he will go and he might go through the back way and pay salaries. Then is this August Assembly who authorized him to go and do something illegal? Honorable Speaker, on that note, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Kantora.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to apologize to the FPAR committee for having done a wonderful job. Very hectic, very tasky, and very energy consuming. There is nothing national interest that supersedes these things. The lives of civil servants in our hand, the lives of poor employees in our hands. This is about national interest. Honorable Speaker, had it been that the first supplementary budget is laid us today, the tune of 1.1 billion, I would definitely have a rethink, and I may not give a blessing. But going through to look at priority areas, pressing needs, gave me the independent mind to throw my weight behind the supplementary bill so that affected areas can be remedied. As alluded by my leader, we are trying to ensure transparency and accountability. And that is why all this issue has been dragging till date. Justifications are enough for me to bless this supplementary bill. And I deem it necessary, with clear conscience and clear mind, to support this bill on record. Looking at the necessity, this is beyond want now, but look at the necessity at hand. To be honest, we have to support this bill. Then the remaining areas can come in on instrumental basis, installment into 2019. But as of now, we definitely need to support this bill so that the Christians also have a joy in entering in their feast. You cannot ask an employee to work 30 good days. At the end of the day, the government cannot pay you. It's disheartening and shameful. In a nutshell, I'm in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Lower Salum.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You see, two things involved. You either said the truth or you said the lie. And here, Madam Speaker, I don't think the Honorable Minister with the Auditor General will sacrifice their life with this. Before they go into the office, they take an oath. I don't think they will sacrifice their, grave for this. I don't think. Madam Speaker, justification that the Honorable Minister gave us here, I base my facts on this. And I'm speaking on my consent. Nobody will force me to speak. Madam Speaker, if we said we are here for the people, what people want, let's do that. Still now, salaries are not paid. I get series of calls. You refuse to, to take the SSP. We said no, and it's amended, not the actual figure. We have to send the minister back to go and make his homework. Madam Speaker, and I will not see in this article, in this justification whereby it puts fertilizer for the farmers. Because my vote, the farmers that gave me that vote. And I will base on my fact. I'm not speaking with anybody. The truth is the truth. If the minister thinks that he is misleading us, or the Auditor General is that we are going to support this based on on their facts that they tender to us. And basically, Madam Speaker, I will throw my weight on this, and I am supporting with this, how to call it. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, I think the request is come back to us to reconsider the decision that we have made. And I don't see anything wrong with reconsidering our decision. I believe that this is not the first time we have reconsidered the decision we have made here. But remember, we've rejected something here, and it was brought back for reconsideration, and we reconsidered it. So we have to look at the merits and the merits of what we want to decide. Honorable Speaker, the section 153 in the Constitution is not put there for the sake of putting it there, because it is clear to even the drafters of this Constitution that there can be over-expenditure based on the situation and circumstances. All we have to look at is whether those expenditures are genuine or they are not genuine. If they are not genuine, then it is our right to reject an expenditure that is not genuine. And of course, it is my conviction that we should not condone any expenditure that is not genuine. At the same time, there is a limit to the amount that can be expended in that way, that can be brought to us through the SAP. And I think those are the conditions that we have to look at. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the items they have brought, I, in fact, had a privy information on, for example, fertilizer, because I was pushing the GGC to send fertilizer to my constituency on the right time, which they succeeded in doing. But I was privy to information that the government has still not paid the amount that should be paid to the GGC. And if this money is not paid on time, the GGC will not do their necessary preparation to send fertilizer to our constituencies when the rains come. And we all know how we clamor here for fertilizer. So I believe that fertilizer is an urgent request and it's genuine. And I believe that since that is part of this, it is important that we consider. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to salaries, we all know that we have to pay salaries. That is statutory. You cannot withhold people's salary. And it's not fair for us to withhold the salary of others when we go and get our salary at the end of the month. Since this is about salary and wages for other people, it's not meant for the finance ministry or for somebody else. It's for these people, defense personnel. So I believe that we should reconsider our position and accept this SAP so that the state can go and pay. Honorable Speaker, NAWEC is also part of it. We are all clamoring for electricity. 1 hour when electricity goes off. The next day we come here, everybody will be talking here. So since NAWEC is part of it, so that we don't default in giving electricity to our people. I believe we should consider that as well. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the whole situation, I said it here during my contribution on the budget speech. I said there are certain things in the budget I would have rejected, but you will not reject one and leave the other. Collectively, we have taken out some, but there are still some. If you bring that budget to me, I have said it here, I will remove a lot of things from there. But because other people have accepted, then I have to succumb to the position of others. It's like the constitution of the Gambia when we are voting for this. There were some things that we don't agree. I don't agree. But because when I look at the whole thing in total, and I see that the major provisions that will make our country to move without becoming a failed state, we need to vote for the constitution at that material time, even though there are certain things there that I may not agree. So it is the same situation now. This budget that we have just passed, there are certain things there I'm not interested. I would not have ordinarily, I would not put them there. But because we are collective, we cannot all accept things 100%. So I would urge my honorable colleagues to accept this limited amount that was brought to us, not to be seen to hold the situation at ransom to the extent that there will be a failure. Thank you very much.
Banjul South.
Thank you very much,
Can I
Madam.
take more interventions, please, on my list from here? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I stand here to say that I am utterly disappointed. The 11th of December, we had a bill that was presented to this August Assembly. And this August Parliament looked at national interest then and rejected this bill. We looked at national interest then, and I am utterly disappointed within 2 weeks to see it window dressed again, claiming to be paying so-called salaries, hiding behind the shadow of Christians. When have we ever thought about Muslim Christianity in the name of so-called salary? I am very disappointed. I was proud to see my honorable colleagues throw that bill back to the honorable minister and to the executive to show them that we had powers, to show them that we were doing our job, to show them that this assembly, this legislative, is as equal, as powerful, if not more powerful than the executive. I am utterly disappointed to hear some of my honorable colleagues vomit and eat it, because as I always say, only dogs would vomit and eat.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable.
Madam Speaker. Can you control your...
Madam Speaker.
No.
I will go through...
No, but I have the right. She will not be...
Not done, Madam Speaker. If I look at the breakdown...
Remember, did I hear you say dogs vomiting and eating? No,
Somebody
I don't
said
think that...
vomiting, so
Sorry.
I am quoting what somebody said, and I said only dogs do that. I did not say anybody does that here. I said only dogs
even that
do that.
Madam Speaker, point of order, please.
No, honorable member, with all due respect, that is unparliamentary language. I would request that you withdraw that
Okay,
language.
I'll withdraw it, Madam Speaker. Let me continue because my time is going. Madam Speaker, if I look at the justification of the Honorable Minister, Madam Speaker, he says to airlift Cuban doctors at the cost of $28,471,700. Madam Speaker, we have about 10 days left to the end of the year. With how many working days left? I would count 6 working days. And if we airlift these doctors at this cost, Madam Speaker, and let's say we only have 6 working days left, it would cost the taxpayer at least $4 million per day. What amount of work, what number of lives are those Cuban doctors going to save to earn taxpayers this amount of money, Madam Speaker? We are going through a festive period, Madam Speaker, of Christmas. If we spend this money to bring them, when they come, what will they do? They will be eating and drinking, enjoying Christmas at the expense of the taxpayers. Madam Speaker, the year is ending. We have just passed a budget. Why don't we wait until the end of the year and commence the new budget to airlift these Cuban doctors, Madam Speaker? What is the rush? Or are we hiding behind shadows, claiming the so-called lifting so that we will give our executive more monies to be hiring private jets, Madam Speaker, at the cost of our taxpayer? Madam Speaker, it was only last week my colleague said the president went on tour, excessively abusing taxpayers' money, using monies unnecessarily, Madam Speaker. Did they not know that they had these expenses to pay at that time? Or do they think that we are just rubber stamp, that they will just bring this and have us pass this? Madam Speaker, I would be really disappointed to see this passed at this hour. It is 20 past midnight and we are still here. We've been sitting here since 12 o'clock. Why? So that they will have their way, Madam Speaker. I don't believe in this, Madam Speaker. We all have a right to believe, and I totally do not. Madam Speaker, and it says NAWEC. Madam Speaker, NAWEC, it's a parastatal. When they take loans, Madam Speaker, they should be able to manage their finances well, to be able to fulfill their obligations, their financial obligations. Madam Speaker, most of NAWEC is prepaid. If we don't use something, we don't pay. So why would they take liabilities that they know that they cannot, and then we will put it at the burden of the poor taxpayer and claim to be able not to pay salaries at the expense of what? Of the rich executive? Do you think if they do not take their salaries home, they will feel it? They will not feel it because they have so much to lavish. If you look at the minister's fuel allowance, it's nothing less than 30,000. 30,000 can pay 10 civil servants, Madam Speaker. Let them forego all that for this period and pay the low poor earner, Madam Speaker. If it is only at the interest of the poor salary earner that they are claiming this, let them forego their salaries. Let the executive forego their salaries and pay those poor earners, Madam Speaker, if it is only salaries. Fuel alone is $30,000, nothing less than $30,000 for a minister. For a permanent secretary is $15,000. For directors is $750,000, Madam Speaker. Let them forego that and see whether they cannot pay the poor salary earners, Madam Speaker. And they say that fertilizers. Madam Speaker, is it today that they are thinking of the poor farmers? When they buy their pajeros going up and down, up country, when those poor farmers are dying out there, is it today that they are thinking of those poor farmers? Those farmers have been wallowing in poverty since God knows when. And it is today. Are they telling us that they have spent these monies and then claiming that they are going to give it to these poor farmers, hiding behind the shadows of lies, Madam Speaker? We are not going to buy that. And then it says the Ministry of Defense, wages and salaries. Again, I don't believe in this, Madam Speaker. It says in August, this assembly was aware that the regime change set up a panel to reinstate all those people. That was since August, Madam Speaker. If they have been reinstated in August, They have been paid their salaries. If they could have waited, somebody probably they have waited for 2 years, and at least they have the privilege of being given back their jobs. It could have been added to next year's budget. It's only 10 days, less than 10 days towards the end of the year. Why would we come back here less than 10 years? Are we trying to gather monies to enjoy our New Year's? Is that what they are trying to do? Or to put it aside to hire more private jets to be shuttering their wives all over the place? And they are, Madam Speaker, I will not tolerate all that. And okay, yeah, they look at things that will touch people's hearts. Education, because they know everybody is calling for quality education. Everybody wants their children to be educated. Quality education. There's not even a justification for 89,033,652 with no justification whatsoever. It just says wages and salaries. Wages and salaries for 1 month, 89 million. How much is that going to? Madam Speaker, this is a joke. I can't even stop laughing, Madam Speaker. And I said it last week when they put that, that budget, and I was told that I should use proper language. Madam Speaker, if we are given this and we do not continue using this language that we are using, we will be taken as nonsense by the executive, and we will just be kicked, and our voters out there, what trust will they have in this parliament? Last week, the whole Gambia was applauding this National Assembly. Madam Speaker, if we accept this today, we will compromise our principles. Precedents will be set. A floodgate will be opened. Every damn year, this executive will bring us this again. Madam Speaker, I appeal to my honorable colleagues to reject this and throw it back to the executive. I beg you to move.
Honorable Member for Upper Fuladu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to
appeal to honorable members for all of us to use parliamentary language. We are addressing our colleagues and also the chair, so please let's have some little bit of decorum with regards to the language. Not you in particular or anybody, but it's just general. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate that. Madam Speaker, now let me just first of all assure my colleagues and yourself that everything I do or say is influenced by the dictates of conscience and national interest. I have no personal vendetta or vengeance against anybody, but I see Gambia first. Madam Speaker, Section 220, Subsection H of the Constitution, 1H of the Constitution asks us, every citizen, to be loyal to the Gambia and contribute to its defense when necessary. Madam Speaker, the same provision in Section 220, Subsection 1F, asks us to protect and preserve public property and expose and combat the misuse and waste of public funds and property. Madam Speaker, we are talking about a country that, according to the 2017 Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, has indicated that the Gambia is ranked at 130 out of 180 countries that are most corrupt in the world. This is not my claim. This is a reputable information that is coming from a reputable firm, that according to the African Union Commission's Director of Public Affairs, that he is concerned and said that corruption is hampering Africa's development because the advancement of ending corruption should go hand in hand with respecting human rights and the rule of law. And Madam Speaker, the bill before us is not about what rationale or what areas or what is there not to cut or not to cut. No. But the bill before us was rejected in the first time because it has failed to adhere to the constitutional provision of Section 153. Section 153, which is a supplementary appropriation, said subject to Section 154, if in respect of any financial year it is found that an amount appropriated under the Appropriation Act is insufficient, or that a need has arisen for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated by that act, a supplementary estimate showing the sums required shall be laid before the National Assembly before the expenditure is incurred. Madam Speaker, this is the problem. This is where the problem lies, and this is the constitutional provision, the supreme law of the land, which we, this National Assembly, upholds to be our guiding light and principle. And Madam Speaker, I want to inform this National Assembly about what this same Constitution says about the defense of this Constitution. In Section 6, which says any person who, by himself or herself, or in concert with others, by any violent or other unlawful means, suspends or overthrows or abrogates this Constitution or any part of it, or attempt to do any such act, or aids and abets in any manner any person referred to in paragraph A, commits the offense of treason and shall, on conviction, be liable to a penalty prescribed by the Act of National Assembly for that offense. So, Madam Speaker, now here we should ask ourselves, are we going to go ahead and pass this bill and be offenders of this same Constitution, or are we going to reject it? The ball is in our court. This is not about what the people think about us. This is not what the minister intends to do. I have nothing personal against rejecting this bill. But I cannot stand here to defend this Constitution and be the first person to actually violate it. That was my stance, and that's my stance now still. I thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Yes, thank you very much. Honorable Member for Serekunda.
Honorable Speaker, I didn't even want to comment. But when I hear misquotation of the Constitution, I feel that I have to fulfill my national responsibility. We are all concerned. We are here to serve the people. Power must not be abused. We should not misrepresent the people. And that is why my involvement is not partisan. It's not a war between the executive and parliament. I even quoted this when I intervened the first time, that there is separation of powers, but they are supposed to work harmoniously to serve the public interest. But when things are brought before us, we must put law, national interests, and facts, plus conscience, to make a decision. I quoted the law, and I don't need to repeat it. It is just said. It says, before an expenditure is made, then one brings the supplementary appropriation for consideration. I quoted the Public Finance Act, and the minister did quote the section they rely on to come to us. Section 29, subsection 6, that any expenditure discovered at the end of the financial year to constitute excess expenditure shall require approval of the National Assembly and shall be included in the Supplementary Appropriation Bill. But this is where the confusion lies. One moment it appears like an excess expenditure, another moment is like we are bankrupt, we don't have the money. Nothing is clear. And there, if you look at subsection 7, it says that if approval is not given, so it is our responsibility to approve. But the law is even anticipating that if approval is not given, the public officer or vote controller deemed responsible for the loss of such public fund shall be so charged, etc., etc., etc. So here, this section is not to be relied on to bring what we are now considering. Because what we are now considering, we are being told that we need to expend, but we don't have the money. But then, where did the money go if environment, go back to what was brought before us. It mentioned even environment being relied on. I've quoted that if environment was relied on, then you don't come up with a deficit that you need to finance. It means that something has been left out. Another institution has been left out for another budgetary agency. So I am simply saying that what the law says, and is very clear under section 32, that any unpaid expenditure shall be paid from the appropriation for the next financial year. So essentially, when the estimates were brought for 2019, whatever was unpaid expenditure should have been anticipated and brought into that. Where that fails to happen, you can still come up with a supplementary appropriation, and then we will have the time to scrutinize what is brought before us. We will look at each item, and the committees can do the same, so that we know that at the end of the day, what we have done is on the basis of the fact of the matter and on the basis of the national interest. So the reality is that this National Assembly is being subjected to measures that is not allowing this institution to defend its integrity. It appears that we are divided. It appears that some are against something else. A house divided is a house that cannot have integrity. It's a house that cannot stand. And that is precisely the situation of this National Assembly today. We may have seen eye to eye on many things, but because of the circumstantial measures that are utilized, we are not seeing eye to eye. And it appears that some are against what may essentially be in the national interest, and some are for what is essentially not in the national interest. It is for you to decide. For me, the law is the guide. My conscience is also my guide. The way this estimate is brought before us is not proper, it's not timely, it does not allow us to do our work. And a committee was set to look into it. Eventually, this National Assembly saw that the work of that committee would not be accepted, and it was rejected. To come again at the 11th hour and claim that it is this National Assembly that did not have the foresight to do what was right, and now it is rectifying its mistake, not by quoting the Constitution and the Public Finance Act, but simply telling us and the nation that certain expenditures are so urgent that if they're not done, the nation would collapse. Then what we were doing 3 months ago, 4 months ago, why didn't we see what we are seeing now? Why the 11th hour? Honorable Speaker, I will not be a part of those who will make such a decision. I have taken my stand, and it is for us to suffer the consequences of not doing what the Constitution says, what the law says, and what conscience and the national interest dictates. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Latrikunda Sabiji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Then also thank the Honorable Minister, despite the fact that it's very, very late. But I think it's really, really worth it. Honorable Speaker, where we are quoting on this, okay, let me just start by saying that I rise to support this appropriation bill. I rise to give it my support. Okay, where the Constitution says, Section 153, Subsection 2, where a supplementary estimate or estimates have been approved by the National Assembly, a supplementary appropriation bill shall be introduced in the National Assembly for the appropriation of the sums so approved. Okay? Honorable Speaker, looking at this, you look at the salaries. I will not be part of those who will say that I will reject this bill and then the people will not be paid out there. I will not. I will never be part of those who will say that the farmers' fertilizers will not have enough fertilizers because of this bill. And then not only that one also, looking at this one also, the wages and the salaries, you look at the consultancy airlifting of Cuban doctors. Honorable Speaker, I see this as something very, 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 very important and an urgency for us to pass this bill. Honorable Speaker, though this bill was rejected last week and it's been brought back, but looking at the SAP, it doesn't specify which time we should pass this bill and which time we should not pass it. And also, we have followed the legal procedure to bring this bill back. Because if you look at the standing orders, what we follow in the standing order, that is in our standing order, that's exactly what we follow. It shows that we are on the right channel. It shows that we are on the right track to prove this SAP. We post a motion as it is said by the standing order. And that is exactly what we did. So to me, I am supporting this bill. I am giving it my 100% support. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Jara East.
the floor. Madam Speaker, lawyers argue on points of law. The same thing is expected for National Assembly members. And for that being the case, I hereby take my strength from Section 112, which says our conduct must be purely dictated by conscience and national interest, be it in the Assembly or outside the Assembly. Madam Speaker, excuse me, it does not require much intelligence to know where I'm heading. A simple guess would know. Madam Speaker, parliamentary democracy dictates one to speak one's mind without being cowed into submission, without being a victim of undue influence. Excuse me. Victim of undue influence. We are at liberty to speak our minds. But, Madam Speaker, we are what we are by virtue of what comes out of our mouth. It is not about the dress that we are clad in, but what comes out of our mouth. Madam Speaker, we are measured to a great degree by our utterances. Yes, it's not out of the ordinary to recant your statement. You can recant your statement based on solid reasons. Reasons that have the propensity to convince people beyond all reasonable doubts. Madam Speaker, I am on record for having said that I will not spit and eat my sputum, neither would I vomit and eat my vomitors. Madam Speaker, I, for one, am not convinced, and therefore I cannot give my blessing to this bill, what we have before us, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it must be understood beyond the bare essentials that when matters are subjected to the vectors of law, it's not meant for witch hunt, but rather it is meant to sanitize. It is meant to cleanse. It is meant to cleanse that ugly in the beauty. And our work here is to cleanse the ugly in the beauty. That is to make things better, to put things in their right perspective. Once that is done, it means we have cleansed the ugly that is found in the beauty. That's our primary undertaking as lawmakers. And Madam Speaker, I'm always guided by my conscience. And I need not belabor on what I have said in the earlier, that I cannot afford to throw my weight behind this bill. Madam Speaker, it's about democracy. If you might allow me to quote Beatrice Allen, I quote, it says, I will not disapprove of what you wanted to say, but I will defend to death what I believe in. That's pure democracy. I will not disapprove of what you wanted to say, but I will defend to death what I believe in. And what I believe in is what I'm vomiting. So, Madam Speaker, without much ado, I hereby respectfully indicate my stance. And I don't want people to misconstrue me. I am guided by national interest and my conscience. Because what I don't believe in, if I subscribe to it, I will end up being a prisoner in my own skin. I will end up being a victim or a prisoner of my conscience. And that I'm not willing to do that. I believe fervently, Madam Speaker, whatever we do here, whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not, there is always a juster judge that awaits all of us. And it's that juster judge that will account us for whatever we have done. So it's a matter of yes or no. And I said no, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Birkama North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. If I could rightly recall, when the Supplementary Appropriation Bill was earlier on laid before the August Assembly, and my position was that there is both legal and timing aspect of it, on the basis of which I concluded that it is not proper for it to be adopted. And I did also put across that this is serving as a litmus test to this National Assembly. And I did also remind that we want to remind that this Assembly is here and is on firm footing. I will only be disappointed that this advice has not been heeded to this 11th hour. We have received this in another manner, but still the same approach in the name of emergency. I would have loved, I think it was not a secret. I wasn't here yesterday, but there was a caucus on this. And this morning, I was told also there was a caucus on it. I don't think it's special to be considered as emergency. I would have loved the other paper to be amended in the morning, to include this in the other paper. But to wait until this 11th hour and then call it an emergency, I think definitely that is trying to compromise our position. You can see many other members were here, but for one reason or the other, they could not continue to witness this emergency to be put before us. And we are attaching importance to it in the name of that emergency. Madam Speaker, it's not about we don't have the interest of the citizenry at heart. It is about law and it is about procedure. When something is not proper, before the law, there is nothing that can justify that. We are not saying that the people should not be paid. But if you are to be paid, it should be in accordance with the law. And if it's time to violate that, there is no way that you can justify that. That is the reality, and that is the hard fact. One rotten potato in a bag is a common adage that spoils the entire bag. This bag has been rotten, and when it is rotten, the best way we can do is to dump it as garbage. And that is exactly we did. We cannot just pick that again, handful of it again, and we want to make that good. No, it's not going to be edible. That is the position as far as this is concerned. If I do listen to the reasons that were advanced by the earlier speakers attacking salaries as the relevance of trying to accept this, I think salary has been mentioned under Ministry of Defense. Under that, on the basis of certain officials were reinstated, and again, their drawbacks also supposed to be paid. But when actually this reinstatement happened, I want to believe when that was happening, the Ministry of Finance should be in better position to project whether actually the money that was at the Ministry of Defense would be sufficient enough to pay those salaries for the officials who were reinstated and their drawbacks. But to wait until this 11th hour and use that as justification, I don't think that is a justification that can hold water in this case. That is about salary, and that is about the Ministry of Defense. He said also the same thing applied to the Ministry of Interior. The same way I objected or raised my reasons on defense, the same applied to the Ministry of Interior. Another area where salary is mentioned is the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, wages and salaries. Unfortunately, there is no justification that is advanced under this, and we cannot fabricate any justification for that. So we have to put aside entirety of that particular ministry, that 83,652 dollars is budgeted for that particular ministry, wages and salary, when no justification is advanced. Madam Speaker, I think so far so good. If we are to talk about salaries, these are the only areas where salaries are mentioned. For one to say that when these are not paid, generally salaries will not be paid, what kind of reasons would be attached to that? Are you compelling or succumb to accepting this only in the name of so that general salaries can be paid, even whereas it's not proper? That is $1 million question we're supposed to ask ourselves. That is about salaries. And all the notions about salaries, these are the only areas where salaries are mentioned. We cannot advance salaries as the basis or the reason why we should accept this, because these are the only 2 or 3 areas. In fact, it's not 3, but 2. Since there is no reason for or justification for Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. The other area is centralized service. And that has nothing to do with salaries. That has something to do with NAWEC. Are you trying to say that without this 11th hour, that cannot come in January? That reason also is not convincing enough. You go to the Ministry of Health, airlifting the Cuban doctors. I can tell you definitely. Airlifting the Cuban doctors, we need that. Now against 31st January, we need the Cuban doctors to be airlifted because the nurses were on strike, that they were demanding the Cuban doctors. I definitely cannot be convinced that the strike of the nurses were on the basis of because they want the Cuban doctors. Our Gambian nurses would better love to show their knowledge, to deliver their service to the Gambian patients. They will not cry for the Cuban doctors to come. That the strike is on the basis just for the Cuban doctors to come. And this is the reason why we are so much eager to say that we need this amount of money to be budgeted, to be approved, so that the Cuban doctors can come. Madam Speaker, I think this is another tactical way just to say that let's bring it in this manner and let's bring it in the 11th hour when many are gone so that we can have the simple majority and then pass. No, but I said, we're here. We will stay here until even 5, 6 a.m. to make sure the right thing is done. We are here. This National Assembly is not going to be remote control. This National Assembly will be put in the fine perspective. This National Assembly is here to lay a foundation for national assemblies to come here after us. And I'm telling you, I'm saying that nothing can shake us. As far as the law is concerned, as far as procedure is concerned, as far as our consent is concerned, no amount of lobbying can make things work here. It has to be transparent. Come here and put it and then defending, not lobbying. Madam Speaker, my consent cannot allow for I to say that last week this is not lawful, it is not timely, and today I accept to that. My consent cannot allow nothing else but because of this position, and I still uphold to that position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Majority Leader. Member for Kumbasa.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I also want to say that I'm joining my colleagues to throw this outright. It's very unconstitutional, very unprofessional, and it's against the principles of democracy in this country. This is the Gambia that we have fought for 22 years. Nobody can come and micromanage us here. We are not going to support this thing, and it is not going to be passed in this National Assembly. We will use the law to back our statement that is unconstitutional. There is a lot of inconsistency in this bill. From 1.2 billion to 580 billion, and now you are telling us to pay another 585 million. For what? There is no consistency in this bill. We are not going to support it. It is not in the interest of the Gambian people. The salaries have been budgeted for 2018. What happened to the salaries for 2018? Who gave them the authorization to reinstate those personnel at the Ministry of Defense, paying them millions of dollars in the name of reinstating them? Why are they doing that? It's very unconstitutional and it is not professional. As Gambians, we do not have to mix apples and oranges. The farmers' groundnuts have not been bought. You are telling us about fertilizer. What fertilizer are you going to buy at this present moment? When the farmers' peanuts are just there, they are lying there, they have just been eaten by insects, and they don't know what to do. The price has just been allowed less than a week. Farmers are complaining that the buying points are not even prepared. So most of the nuts are going to Senegal. So what are you telling us? Is it our responsibility to give GGC money to buy fertilizer? What are they doing with it? What are they bringing back to the national coffers of this country? I think it is about time that we stand and know our position as citizens of this country. This is the Gambia that we fought, and we will continue to do it. And I said, since day one, my position is very clear. At this age, I am not going to look into anybody's eyes, and I don't have anything to succumb to any pressure, and nobody is going to convince me to support this bill. Madam Speaker, this is very wrong, and it's very untimely, and it is not professional. And I want to urge the minister to resign, because he's bringing things that is going to bring people at loggerheads in this country. So on that note, Honorable Speaker, I am not going to support this bill, and it is very wrong and very unconstitutional. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I see your tag? Yes, Banjul North. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I, in fact, initially decided not to say anything. I wanted to stand by my previous position that it was not based on sentiments that I did not support the estimate when it was before us. It is not anything personal. It is not partisan. It's just based on my conscience and what I feel, what I see the law dictates, and of course public interest. I am not lobbying anybody to support the bill. Each and every member has a right to do what you feel is right for you to do. But definitely for me, I cannot renege from my previous position. I don't know, or don't see the urgency. Why? Because during the discussion the last time, it was in fact suggested that nothing stops the minister from coming back next year to present the legitimate ones. And we can consider them on a case-by-case basis. So I just don't see why we should be approving this when it is just a few weeks before the end of the year. And then if failure to approve it, what happens? Is it the end of the world? Is it doomsday? So I just want to know. So options are given to the minister. I will not go to the extent of asking the minister to resign. But what I'm saying is options are given to you. What stops you from bringing in the legitimate ones next year? So on the basis of principles, on the basis of our conscience, for me, I'm talking about myself, definitely I cannot support this bill. I just want to be on record that I cannot support this. And then I'm not closing the door when some of these are brought before us next year to support, to even approve them on a case-by-case basis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do I take more interventions? Lower Nyomi, I thought you had already. Oh, go ahead. Yes, Lower Nyomi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When sympathy is going to be part of consideration, I think we should have had that much earlier if we are to consider the plights of the people. For the past almost 1 year plus, we have been asking the Minister of Finance to do something about the price of rice, which is the talk of the people. Rice is very expensive, being the most stable commodity we consume. Rice is very expensive. Rice is very expensive. If we are going to consider the people, why don't we consider the people then? We had a problem here about our allowances with the executive. We had to threaten to strike, threaten to walk out of the chambers if our allowances were not paid. We were talking in one voice, or we were talking with one voice. Today it is sad we are talking with 3 voices. The assembly, which used to be an assembly of the national, is now an assembly of the sentiments. Let us not create precedents. If something is wrong, it is wrong. it can never be right. Whilst we were out, this August Assembly passed that they were not going to accept that SAP. Now it has come in the form of another chameleon caller to deceive, to divide, and it has attained the objective of dividing us. We are divided. We are divided because we think we can argue for justification. My dear colleagues, if the Ministry of Defense can reinstate and pay a good number of officers that high salary, that high compensation, what is happening to the lowering of the price of rice for our people to access it? Why do we give consideration to the defense and less to our people? Now is the time we are thinking of education. Yes, at the end of the year, when their backs have already been broken, now is the time for us to think about education, that they need to be paid. There is life after the assembly. There is life after this month if people are not paid. Let's stand by what we said yesterday to carry our integrity. Let's stand by what we mean. Let's not stand by what we don't mean. Let's not go out to explain other things other than what had been done right. We are called honorable members. PLO Lumumba could call us horrible members. Are we going to that level? Instead of honorable, we go to horrible. That's a disgrace. That is a disgrace. And we should never stoop so low as to go to that level. For who? For what? Why should we? We are people of integrity. We are respected. Respect starts with the self. Respect yourself before you are respected. You came here well accorded that. Do you want to shed it out? The ball is in your court. The ball is in our court. Let's shed it. It is our responsibility to uphold our integrity based on the provisions. We have a lot of provisions that would justify our stance. Yesterday we said no. We cannot today say yes. It is not gentlemanly. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Member for Sami.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. I did not want to talk at the initial stage, but because I thought that we will not waste much time on this. We will just say no to it, and we go. But I'm definitely surprised, as other speakers have mentioned. We all say here, it is unconstitutional. And I said it here, the standing order and the Constitution are our Bible and our Qurans. I say that here. So something which you know that it is not in line So why are we accepting that? And for the first place, look at how many National Assembly members are here. Very few. This is not the right time for us to discuss this. Everybody should be present. To me alone, we should in fact wrap up this and discuss it at a better time where everybody is present. All the members are present. So that we discuss about it. Honorable Speaker, if I'm in fact surprised. Why? Because we have already approved 2019 budget. We did not in fact enter in 2019. We started facing problems. It will not. It will not. Because when we are budgeting, we said 1st January to 31st December. This is why I say the 50%, we will not have it. Because when we are approving 2018, is 1st January to 31st December. 6 months, you should have come and tell people that there are problems. When you came into office, you should know what is there. What are your constraints? And report so that we all see the way forward. But now 2 weeks, you are telling people that farmers will not be able to have their fertilizer. Farmers still now, some of them, they are granules. They go and take it to Senegal. If farmers don't have fertilizer, we will tell them that it is misused by the government. Yes, that's what we will tell them, not we. Because they are saying that now, if we don't approve this, farmers will not have fertilizer. Yes? That's what they are saying. Or we will not be paid. And somebody stated here that let's sleep in dog's life. Somebody stated here, the honorable member of Brikama North. You said I could remember that day. People smell this. They attach salaries to it to see our stand. Let us refuse. Let us refuse and see what will happen. Let us see that. What will happen? Because you cannot say one, tomorrow you say 2 or 3. For me, I'm not looking at anybody's eyes. I look at my own self. My own self. If I say yes, I mean yes. If I say no, I mean no. And nobody can come and talk to me and say, yes, do this, do that. No. I will not do that. So, Honorable Speaker, definitely, me, I don't accept this. 100%, I don't accept it.
Thank you
very much.
Yes, thank you. Honorable Member for Upper Salum.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And also, thank you to my honorable colleagues. And I also want to thank the Minister and his team for being here with us till late. Honorable Speaker, probably I just have to clarify certain things about the intent. It was never the intent of FPAC to be involved in anything that is illegal or anything that is wrong. It was never the intent of FPAC at any time. We were given a responsibility by you to verify and to ascertain the figures and the bill that was brought to us by the Honorable Minister for Finance. And we did our work, and we came to you last week. Some agreed with us, and some said no, we needed more information. And in fact, that led to the voting until that was rejected. We went back and take a look at exactly what was given to us to see, because again, and I said this last time, the approval or the denial of this bill is the responsibility of all of us here. And that's the reason why when I spoke here on that day, I made it very clear. I said, this is exactly what we had, and this is actually what we wrote, and I stood by what I wrote at that material time, and until now, I stand by that. And it was up to you to say yes or to say no to what we are presenting. Honorable Speaker, I did say again, and I will continue to say it, there is no motive. There is no motive, absolutely, nothing absolutely, that is pushing us at FPAC or the honorable members to come back again to seek for your indulgence in allowing us or allowing the minister to partially approve this bill. Section 32 of the Public Finance Act 2014, subsection 2, is also clear, because again, it gives the minister the authority or the right to take all these outstanding payments into the following year. He can do that. But sometimes circumstances may compel somebody, especially in the situation when we are dealing with public accounts, to ask for such what we call the supplementary appropriation. You see, when we spoke about the Minister of Health, particularly about the Cuban doctors, it was very clear that this is actually taking some Cuban doctors back to their own country as per the agreement they have with the government of the Gambia, and bringing others into the country to continue their work so that the students at the medical school can continue also to continue their education. In fact, this bill was brought to us prior to the students actually having a strike. So basically, we cannot say that because of the student strike, that's why we are bringing this. No. This bill came prior to students of the university, the medical school went on strike. Honorable Speaker, to go back on the issue with the GGC on the centralized services, about NAWEC. You see, with NAWEC, this is something government owes them. And now they are in need to repay a loan that they actually have with ITFC. But they are unable to. And it was our own government that actually guaranteed that particular loan. And normally, when you guarantee somebody, especially in financial transactions, when they default, then they go to the guarantor for you to pay. And that's exactly what is happening with this NAWEC. NAWEC is unable to, and we know why, because we've discussed extensively about the situation of our state-owned enterprises in this country, extensively, especially this week, since Monday. They are unable to. And that actually has a rippling effect on their credit rating. It could even have a rippling effect also on the credit rating of this country as well. Now, note that ITFC is not only given to financing to NAWEC, but other institutions also as well. So if you default, of course, what's going to happen is they may also stop the other institutions from actually having some financing from them. Honorable Speaker, it's also important for us to also understand that it's not like the minister is going to borrow money to pay for this. No. The government actually has the money at central bank. So even if we're going to move everything back to January of next year, what is the money going to do at the central bank? If the government was going to borrow to do this, I would be the first one to raise my hand. I say no. If the government of the Gambia was to go and borrow and then pay for this financing to supplementary appropriation, I would be the first one to say no. We cannot borrow to do this because the net effect would not be good for the business of this country. But the finances are there already. The money is there. So it's not a matter of like they're going to central bank. No. They have their own money. They're going to use their own money to finance this, what they want to do. As confirmed by the various sources we have to actually consulted in this country here. They're verified. We have enough money in the Treasury main account to be able to pay for all these things there. So taking money from somewhere else, that is out of the question. Honorable Speaker, the GGC issue, we must understand this thing. Last year when the Minister of Agriculture spoke to us, even in 2017, the previous Minister of Agriculture spoke to us about the subsidy they want to actually give to the farmers. So that instead of buying a bag of fertilizer for 1,100, then the government subsidized, then you can go and buy the bag of fertilizer for for $700. Now the price difference between the actual selling price and what we give to the farmers, it was the government's responsibility to pay. And that's exactly why we have the input subsidy. And may I also say, that differences in price that was supposed to be paid to GGC was never paid. So it's not like we are paying this money so that they can buy fertilizer for next year. No. It's not about that. It's an outstanding amount that is owed to them for the fertilizer that they've given to the farmers last year. It's not this incoming one, but for the current one that was already sold to the farmers at a discount, and government is supposed to reimburse GGC for the differences so that the GGC can continue their operations. So again, this has nothing to do with the incoming farming season for now. Let's understand that. Let's put things in perspective. Honorable Speaker, on the issues with salaries and allowances, I would say two mistakes cannot make a right. If the Minister of the Interior or the Minister of Defense, if they're under budgeted, and the Minister of Finance also worked with them and they was also under budgeting in those budget lines, or they've actually reinstated some people and pay. And we were told yesterday by the Auditor General that those people that are reinstated and demanding for several years of pay for the investment, in fact, he had to stop it when he realized that this thing cannot be continued until they finish the security sector reform. Then they're going to continue to do those things. But at that time, what had happened has already happened. And that's why I'm saying two wrongs cannot make a right. Now, the issue before us is here. There is an issue. In fact, I would call it a national issue. That is laid before us here. And we are part of the solution. We are part of the solution to solve this national issue. That's exactly where we are right now. And again, every single person is here as honorable members. You have the right to say yes, you have the right to say no. But what we are saying is, look at this critically and understand that it's not that government is going to borrow to solve these issues. Government has the money, but they cannot spend the money until we say, you go ahead and do that because of the ceilings that were already set in the systems based on the budget that we actually did for 2018. In hindsight, I'm 100% sure if the previous minister knew that this day will come, especially in the last hour, which we all agreed, the timing, the amount, we all agreed unanimously, wasn't good. We all agreed with it. There was no question about the timing and also the amount. We all agreed, 100%. But when an issue comes, and you could be a part of the solution, Honorable Speaker, I think it's essential that we actually take a look at it. And that's the reason why I'm asking my honorable colleagues to look at this thing in detail, in totality. It's going to be really very difficult to take one brush and use one brush to paint the entire. It's going to be really very difficult. When circumstances ask for certain things, I think it's essential that we actually take a look at it. For me, personally, I'm not easily moved by sentiments. I'm not easily moved by sentiments, and I always use my conscience whenever I do things. And I'm here for a reason. I'm not here for a season. Honorable Speaker, I will urge my honorable colleagues to reconsider, knowing the situation of the country, knowing the situation of the civil servants, because you cannot pay a particular group of individuals in the civil service and say, you know, you cannot pay the others. It's going to be difficult to do that, or if not impossible. And that's why I'm saying, let's consider what the minister brought again to us. At the end of the day, history will judge all of us, because all of us, we are seeing our conscience defined. And again, that's the beauty of democracy actually, because here today I'm actually seeing democracy is actually winning. We are seeing divergent views, and that's the good thing about democracy. That's why I feel very good to be part of this August Assembly. It is only divergent views that we can use to learn from, divergent views that we can use to actually work together as nation builders. This is essential. And Honorable Speaker, I want to just conclude to thank everyone again for the time you have taken to even look at what we are bringing to you. I'm very proud of every single person in this August Assembly. And right now we are talking about almost, we are in the wee hours of the night, but they have taken their time to stay with us, to look at it, critically discuss, show their views. Honorable Speaker, I think this is exactly what we need in this country to move forward. Let's continue to have divergent views. Let's continue to dialogue on national issues. And at the end of the day, we can sit down on one table and agree to disagree. On that note, I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Kiang Central.
Thank you, Ma. Very briefly, Honorable Speaker, I am worried and disappointed. Worried because the signals that we are receiving from the current dispensation is like there is no proper financial discipline in place. Disappointed because I am still wondering whether we have right people in right positions. I therefore join my colleagues who are on the side or who are really opposing this supplementary appropriation bill, and therefore said no and no and no to it. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Any more interventions? Any more? Bunduka Kunda, didn't you? Okay, right. It was Open Yumi. Yes, Bunduka Kunda.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, this bill has come back again, the SAP. Honorable Speaker, when I saw the bill again, I'm trying to figure out what I should do, because all what I want to do is what is in the best interest of my country. What is in the best interest of my country is what I want to do, and I know that is why I am here. But after going through some of the explanation that are given, Honorable Speaker, I'm still not convinced that this SAV I should agree to it. Honorable Speaker, if I find it difficult to understand, salaries, December salaries were approved here last year, this time, December. Meaning the ministry have the authority already to pay December salaries, being it Interior, Department of Interior, Basic Education, nurses from Cuba. You know, I'm still not convinced, and I need to be convinced without reasonable doubt so that I can throw my weight on this bill. Madam Speaker, these reasons that are given, if there is only one part that I was thinking about, that is the centralized services. Now, at the last paragraph where the explanatory note is, if I may read, in addition, the suspension may put excessive pressure on Gambian dollars, thus further impacting on the exchange rate of the dollar against the US dollar, hereby leading a potential price increase in major commodities. I still find it difficult to see the link not paying this to inflate commodity prices. And some of the loan with NAWEC, I think that can still be renegotiated so that it can be paid next year. I think they could have done a better job if it is budgeted for next year during the draft estimate. I think that is where they should put it, rather than at this juncture to bring it for us to approve it. Therefore, Madam Speaker, my consent still cannot allow me to accept this bill. I thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, you see, you did all along. I was asking. Nobody raised this flag. Thank you. Yes, I will take you. Yes, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Honorable Speaker, not comfortable with the remarks I heard from my colleagues with regards to this bill which is before us here. In the first initial stage, when the bill was brought, I wasn't around, but nevertheless, the decision of the Assembly, whether you are in or out, I think you are part of that. Honorable Speaker, why I said I am not comfortable? Since the inception of this Assembly, honorable members work as a team. We work together as one family, and then we have maybe our differences, but we agree and disagree on issues and then come to term. Now, with this issue, what I learned from most honorable members, the issue of dividing this Assembly, Honorable Speaker, which is a very unfortunate situation. I don't think we should allow ourselves to be divided because of an issue that is before us. Yes, we are all here for the national interest, and originally it has been rejected. But there was a framework which was brought by the former Minister of Finance in this Assembly because of not properly explained to the members, that also has been rejected. That also has been rejected. But after a clear explanation on the issue, then this assembly passed that framework, which the country today is enjoying. You know, we should try to look at the things the other way around. You know, two wrongs cannot make a correct. I personally, from what I gather and what I am following, Honorable Speaker, I think the fault is not that of the Assembly. The Assembly members are here and they have the right to go into the issues in their way of doing things, which they feel is the interest of the country. But with me, honestly, Honorable Speaker, I have not seen the other one, but this one which is before us, I think the problem is from the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance fully well know that we are running at the end of the year, and these expenses has to come before the National Assembly. There is no other authority in this country that can give approval to these expenditures without National Assembly. And National Assembly is very open, very free, very transparent. I see no reason why these things should have not even come at earlier date before a date of today, or put it in the estimate of 2019. But now this thing creates a big controversial. People are saying their opinion, of which they have right to, and then others are saying the other way around. My stand on this, Honorable Speaker, I know the Assembly members take a very firm stand on this issue, and I am not saying that what they are doing is not correct. But what I am saying, Honorable Speaker, I am appealing to the honorable members. I am appealing to the honorable members on this issue, because there was one before this, and then the minister went back and come with a reduction, which goes to almost half of the amount which was brought before this August body. Now, with this situation in which we are facing, really, I am appealing to my colleagues, honorable members, for us to reconsider our decision and pass this bill. We are here, National Assembly is here to stay. The Minister of Finance is there to stay, and the executive. If this thing is being looked into in a way, personally, that I want it to be, really, a practice of this nature, I don't think it will take place. And I'm warning the minister today, that this explanatory note, especially in the area of uplifting Cuban doctors, really, health is very important, but I see no reason why that could not wait until 2019 January budget. Now, the other issue is about fertilizer. Fertilizer, Honorable Speaker, GGC. The rainy season is not yet up, Honorable Speaker. If we are to be honest to ourselves, I think fertilizer could also be an issue that could be reconsidered. I can agree on the wages and NAWEC, Honorable Speaker. These are areas of concern. They are very much matter, and they are areas of concern. This is why I'm saying I'm appealing to my honorable members. Though they have taken their stand, which of course is very right, National Assembly member, this National Assembly member is highly respected all over the country and even outside the country. But nonetheless, say no to it few days, a week or two, and come back with another issue with another document that indicates a real reduction, I think National Assembly members, I am appealing to National Assembly members to reconsider this, and then we approve it. When we approve this thing, this is not the end of the journey. This is not the end of the world. If we are here and the Minister of Finance is there or the other ministry is there, we are doing our job properly, homework properly. If they are not, they will come back here, Honorable Speaker, and find us here. But I'm appealing, sincerely appealing to the honorable members to reconsider and approve this amount for courtesy's sake. I thank you all. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I take my seat.
Thank you very much. Yes, honorable member for Busumbala.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. All those that know Saikouba, Honorable Jarju and Busumbala didn't talk. Question might linger in the mind. But what happened is when the bill was being laid here the first time I was away, so when I came I need to gather facts to be able to do my debate. Madam Speaker, when we came here the first time, we all advised ourselves and urged ourselves to leave this. You are trying to talk in the interest of the Gambian people. But you have to compare, look at what is on the table and see and compare it with the realities on the ground. I am a representative of the people, and that's Busumbala constituency in particular, and by and large, the whole nation. My job is to approve and scrutinize and report back to my people, and as my people are following me, what Honorable Saikouba is doing in the National Assembly. And I also added to my responsibility that it's my responsibility to advise the executive sincerely on issues happening in the country, because the country belongs to me, not anybody. I said me because of my age. I pray to live longer. So anything I do today comes back to me, and somebody said the history will judge. History is judging. History is judging us of what we are going to say, of what we are going to do, and the Gambia, the country, is at a serious crossroad, serious than the impasse that happened in 2017 or 2016. So we need to have and take correct decisions to be able to maintain the peace and tranquility of this country that we found existing here because of our ancestors, so that the younger generations that are coming could live a better life, even more better than us. Madam Speaker, when I was away, I was following, as people are following us. There are questions that I asked myself. Why this SAP at this time? Why this huge amount of money? But when I heard that the bill has been referred to the FPAR committee, I know sincerely in my heart the committee will do justice to that bill, because they have been doing justice to every bill that we pass through, as likewise every committee that we refer bills to. But when I heard that the decision of the committee has been turned down, I questioned myself, where am I putting my National Assembly colleague members to be? Because we gave them the responsibility and assignment to do for us, they brought it and we turned it down. If at all it was in our heart, it was already decided by us that we are going to pull down the bill, we shouldn't have referred it to them. We should have just discussed over it and then go against it. Very simple. We won't waste their time. I sympathized and felt for four of them, but more especially the honorable member for Woolly West. With his age, with his expertise, with his experience, with his respect, all over the world, do an assignment for you, you come and turn it down. But it has been turned down in the interest of the Gambian people. But again, nothing is illegal on what to bring this bill back again. It has just been reminded by the Deputy Speaker. There was something that vehemently turn it down. The researches we have done, information we are given, we brought back again, we approve it. We approve it in the interest of the Gambian people. And so I think, and to my own belief, what we are doing now, nothing is illegal in it. But again, we have to try to weigh and give good decisions. But I want to take this. This was not the failure of this present minister, neither anybody but the whole executive that were there. Now, if I look at what is on the table and compare it to the realities, I want to sincerely advise the executive, and I want the minister to carry this message, even to the higher authority, that's the president. Talk to him. Since this bill was brought to the assembly, there were so many talks in this country. Even those who didn't know what is happening would want to form a story against the bill. When we have been passing scrutinizing bills here, nobody talks about it. But because what are the realities on the ground, people make stories against this bill. We are saying we are on a sense, we are on our personal, how do you call it, concern. I believe no, we are sentimental on issues, on real issues on the ground. And those issues, I want to put it out to the president, and I want the minister to carry it out. The activity of this Barrow youth movement that is going out, people are against it because where are they getting their funding to go and implement projects? It has to be cleared out.
Honorable, please, can you... No, it's all right. Yeah, no, Honorable Member for Badigo, please, can we... No, sorry. Can we restrict our interventions within the confines of this National Assembly and the issues that are before the Assembly right now? We are dealing with the supplementary bill, appropriation, estimates.
I want to give realities what are happening, what is happening on the ground, why so many stories against it. To my own feeling that I think this is why all this, not me, not anybody here, but what is out there.
Yeah, no, I'm not disputing your opinion, but I'm just trying to regularize the proceedings.
All right.
So that,
Madam Speaker, by looking at the realities, salaries are not paid up this time. And somebody made mention of it here. I think when we came here, we all swore to the Holy Quran. And as a believer, you swore that the soul will live after you in your grave. I fear nobody here today. I am fearing my grave. And I believe likewise the minister and the accountant general. When we came here, we agreed that they are the technicians. We are lawmakers, but they have to advise us. If they came, we took them back. They come back again. Still, I want to appeal to my honorable members. By looking at what is real happening on the ground, the salaries are not yet announced. Today is only 20. We all know that by tradition, December, pensioners are called early because we expect early payment. So up till today, if it's not done, whether that's the reality that they are connecting to reach, if this is not approved, the salaries will not be paid or not, let's consider our people, let the salary be paid. And I believe this is a clear warning. This is a clear warning to the executive that this National Assembly member will never and ever be taken for a ride, or this National Assembly. So I am proposing for the minister to forgo all other spending, to go for the spending for defense, interior, education, and health, which, when I put together, give me 183 million. The salaries and wages for Ministry of Defense, Interior, Education, and uplifting of the equipment doctors for our Gambian medical students to continue with their education. I am proposing, and I urge the Assembly to look into that. Wherever it is that we have done the whole world will judge us. Even the Almighty Allah will judge us that we have done justice to this bill. At the point in time as it is now, we all know the Gambian civil servant. Your salary is not paid. You expect your salary tomorrow, it's not paid that day. You are poor. You start crying. Most of if salaries are not going to be paid till next month, till the following month. I want to appeal and urge my fellow National Assembly members, let's go and ask the minister to comply, to forgo all other spending because it's only 2 weeks to January. It is left to him to whatever to do to settle it, but the allowances and wages and allowances for Ministry of Defense, Interior, Education, and the students, the medical doctors, Cuban medical doctors to be airlifted. We agree on that. I did my rough calculation. It gives me $183,378,407. If the minister can agree, comply with us, I urge the National Assembly members, please, let's give a blessing to that, and then we go come next year. And seriously warn the minister, we never want SAPs at this time of the year. Because nobody will be, with your right consent, try to agree with this amount, 1 billion, when it is only 2 weeks to the end of the month. It's going to be very difficult for one to understand, with all situations that are going on. So on that note, Madam Speaker, I am giving my blessing in that side. If the minister can comply, and the National Assembly also, members to accept and give a blessing to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You still want to...
Yes, Madam Speaker. If I did not talk, I am not going to vote because my consent will not be clear. Madam Speaker, I am not going to subscribe under the influence of anybody to say whether I support or I reject. But on my own consent, based on what we have in front of us, my position as a representative in this august body is to protect. Madam Speaker, I do not want to see the soldiers, the police, and the teachers to go on strike if they are not paid. For that being the case, my position as a member is only restricted to support these 3 items on this bill. That is the wages and salaries for these particular institutions. And if it is time for voting, that is my position. And then this is what I am supporting, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's the end of my list. I think everybody's almost spoken. So may I thank all of you and call on the Honorable, yes, the mic is on, the Honorable Minister to respond. You've had the various issues and concerns raised by honorable members. So thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My heart beats when I'm asked whether what I'm doing is constitutional or not. All my life, as a young man, I started to work in the Ministry of Finance, and I have always been guided by a principle that my father, who worked for over 50-something years as a civil servant, to be respectful and to be sensitive to your environment. There is nothing unconstitutional on what we are doing. I consulted, and that's why I decided to have the Auditor General here and the Deputy Accountant General. It's a teamwork. When I came here for the first SAP, I said, we're going to financing through borrowing. We went back, of course, fiscal discipline. That was instituted a couple of months ago. We realized that we've seen the benefits. The account is healthy and can pay for what we are asking for. All what we are asking for is authorization. We are not bankrupt. The intent of my submission, the intent of coming to this August Assembly and presenting everything on the table, my positive move was to establish trust and confidence between myself and the Assembly members. That's what I had in mind, that I think in the new dispensation and the orientation I have is to be truthful regardless of what it takes. And here, when the bill was rejected at first, I said, nobody is responsible but me. And today, I am coming back with my witnesses, the Auditor General, a very honorable man, and the Deputy Accountant General, that whatever we have been doing, we have never ever spent anything outside the envelope. That's why he is here to confirm and verify what I've said. A very independent man. And we established that trust and confidence too, because I've never known him, but he realized that whatever I do is on the table. So to come here to say that whatever we are doing is unconstitutional, no. I came back because we are now more than confident. If it was only borrowing to finance it, then I will go to 2019. But I said, we have now made enough savings through fiscal discipline, and it is that same fiscal discipline that we will carry on into 2019. Why do you have to leave the money there in 2018? The timing is not the issue. According to the Public Finance Act 2014, up to 31st of December, I can come and submit it. Just because, as a developing country, this is the way we have been doing this for the past 20 years, it cannot be done. There are exceptions, there are situations and circumstances that can change. And when I realized that now we have enough money in our treasury main account, I said, now I'm not going to borrow. We all get excited. We came back just to reintroduce, to come back to say, you know what? We respect the decisions that you have taken before, and it's a warning that we cannot go on borrowing. But now we have enough money in the account, and we are back to say, we appeal to you that we have cut it down. And this is what we have. The fertilizers, it's not that when the money is not there, the farmers will not have fertilizer. No, the fertilizer will be in the country, but it will not be subsidized by government. The whole idea is to make it affordable for them to be able to use the fertilizer. Likewise, the Cuban doctors. This is a contractual arrangement. But I think one of the most important things, someone touched about the 50%. If we were not confident that we can afford the 50% salary increase, we would have never ever presented to this August Assembly. So I think it's a matter of trust and respect. I think it should be mutual. I came, you said no. We went back, look at the whole issues. Then we realized that now we have we have enough money in our account to be able to finance this. I don't want to go into the legality of the Public Finance Act. Yes, we can go into 2019. But why do you have to go to 2019 whilst you have the money in this fiscal year? That is why we came back. We said that, you know what, why don't we again try to do this? If it is about conscience, it is my conscience that really haunted me in the sense that how can I live knowing that if I don't go back, whatever it takes to pay the salary, whatever it takes to provide the subsidy for the farmers, whatever it takes to make sure those students have the right lecturers, to be back into the country. Whatever it takes to ensure that the pressure on NAWEC is lifted, and whatever it takes for me as a minister to come back, there is nothing wrong. We are partners. For me to come back to say, you know what, when I came here, I said I was going to borrow. Now I'm coming back because there is enough money. So all the issues raised here revolves around that issue of the timing, the affordability, all of these things. I have said it and repeatedly, and I come back to say that, yes, we have heard what you said. Yes, we have heard the warnings that you have given out. And 2019, our intent originally is to establish trust between the Ministry of Finance and the National Assembly. And I said I will not take the excuse. Today I just met the Justice Minister. He came here to ask for something additional. As Finance Minister, I didn't know. I have to go back tomorrow and look at ways and means of trying to finance those activities. This is the way government runs. It's not, again, it's an estimate. It's not something that is cast on a stone. We adapt, we change. When every day you go to the market, whatever you find there as a menu, that's what you cook. So I am back to tell you, for me, I was coming with a good news to say, you know what? Yes, I told you I'm going to borrow. Now I am not going to borrow. There is enough money in our coffers to be able to finance this and go to 2019 with a good, clean books. Honorable Speaker, that is my response. Again, I said the intent was by no way or means of trying to play games. The intent is to establish trust and confidence between the Ministry of Finance and the National Assembly. That's why I decided to be very transparent. And this is the way I have been oriented, and this is the way I will stay throughout my life. And whenever I come in here, I will make sure I will tell you the truth for tomorrow. We could have, as a finance ministry, just go and do these things. But my conscience will not allow me. We have to respect the National Assembly to come back. All what we need is authorization. We are not playing games. It's about respect. For me, I thought as a National Assembly member, we say, the Minister of Finance, they are complying. They realize that we are the authority. We are the people's representatives. That's why they are coming here for respect. That's all what we ask. And to also establish a trust. Because between the Ministry of Finance and the National Assembly, no sentiments. You cannot just all of a sudden say, we are all Gambians. We are patriotic and we believe in this country. We have all done our quota and we have taken the risk. Nobody has the authority and right to come and tell you, you resign. We are Gambians. Nobody has the authority to do that. Because of our sentiments, it's wrong. It is wrong. I am a Gambian like any other Gambian, and I have been called to serve my people, and I intend to stay and serve my people. I will not resign. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I think we're just all out to do a job, and let's all try to do the job properly and according to the rules and regulations laid down. Honorable members, the next procedure is for me to resolve the Assembly into Committee of Supply to consider the estimates that are the supplementary estimates that have already been circulated and debated upon by honorable members, and then we will do what is necessary at the committee. have your copy?
Now that we are coming to supply and consider it.
Yes, sorry, honorable members, we are now at the Committee of Supplies of the whole House to consider the estimates head by head as has been circulated. The document is already before us. Yes, clerk, go ahead.
Head 021, Ministry of Health and Social Welfare.
Okay. Sorry, honorable members, it is proposed that head 021, Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, exactly.
Yes.
This one, the 3-page, is it?
Yes.
It's the same document. It's the 3-page, yeah. It's the 3-page. Maybe they're stapled upside down. But just go on the Ministry of Health, under the budget entity. Yeah, under the budget entity, Ministry of Health. Sorry?
Given your own numbering? Because there are no...
Is on the 021 by the estimates. So this is supplementary, so we still use the same heads. So Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, head 021. Honorable members, it is proposed that on the ministry, head 021, Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, stand part of the supplementary estimates as provided. Well, yes, I'm just thinking that maybe I have some. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. No. So, we take a vote or pardon? Yes, yes, we take a vote then. But those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. No. Yes, so let's take a vote because the voices were very stern. So, yes, please. Those in favor. Please, those in favor, yes. So, those in favor, 15. Oh, sorry, the nose. I thought we were taking the votes for the ayes. Yes. Those against?
Can I observe you, Madam Chair? Can I observe you? Can we also take the count of those that are not saying yes or not saying no as well? Please.
Yes, we will take it down. We'll take all the counts. And why should they even be absent? No. Those against? Abstain? Abstentions? Who? One? No, it's one.
Okay.
What is it?
Abstain for the whole time.
Sorry, what was it? Ayes 15, noes 16, abstention 2. So the noes have it. Yeah? That item is out. Thank you. Can you proceed with the next head?
Head 015, Centralized Services.
Thank you. It is proposed that Head 015, Centralized Services, stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. No. So can we take a vote as we did the last time? The ayes, those in favor, please, can you raise your hands up, please? No. Those against? Abstentions? What? This is the count. The ayes 15, noes 15, and then abstention 1.
It's deemed rejected.
Pardon?
Abstention 2.
Abstention 2. You did raise your hand up. Sorry. Yes. Abstention 2.
You are not the chairperson out of vote.
There's a tie. When there's a pardon?
Madam Speaker. Yes. No, let's just vote the whole bill.
I vote in favor.
Of time.
Yes. At 16.
Madam Speaker, just a suggestion. Why not you just put the whole bill now before for vote? The whole vote.
Yes, can we continue? Head 7.
Yes.
7. Head 7.
Head 07, Ministry of Defense.
Thank you. It is proposed that Head 07, Ministry of Defense, stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. No. So, as usual, we take the vote, please. The ayes, please, can we? These are the wages. Can we allow the clerk? Yeah, the noes. Those against? Abstentions? No? Okay. The results are as follows. Those in favor, 17. Those against, 13. And no abstentions. So the ayes have it. Thank you.
Head 08, Ministry of Interior.
Thank you. It is proposed that Head 08, Ministry of Interior, stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. 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 So you want us to take the vote? Yes? I think the ayes have it. Or you want us to, let's take the vote. Okay. For the records, please. Please, let's take the vote for the records. Yes, those in favor? Those not in favor? Abstentions? No, no abstentions. No, the indications are that it's not taking part in the process. What is this, 18? Yeah, the results are as follows. Those in favor, 18, and those against, 14. No abstentions. So the ayes have it.
Head
Basic education.
Yes. Head 020, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education.
Thank you. It is proposed that Head 020, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, stand part of the supplementary estimates. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. No. So the ayes have it. But we will still take a vote. Yes, no, we're going to take a vote. Please, those in favor, please, for the records. There is no problem with them. Those not in favor, Deputy. Yes, those against it, the 15, and no abstentions. Am I right? Yes, so the ayes have it. Thank you.
Chair. Madam Chair.
You don't agree? Hold on. It's not a question of disagreeing.
Yes.
Sorry, hold on.
Can you recount it, please?
Please, it is not a question of disagreeing. The votes were counted.
Madam Speaker, we are not convinced of the count.
Pardon?
We are not yet convinced. Can you recount it?
So you want a neutral person, somebody...
No, that's not the case, but we want it to be recounted again.
To be recounted?
Yes.
So please, just take it easy. We'll do the recounting.
No.
Just a second. Some honorable members are saying that they are not satisfied with the counting. They want the counting to be redone. There's no problem with that. Those of them who voted in favor, just raise your hands up.
Honorable Speaker, we've already...
You know...
It's the same number. 16.
It's the same number.
It's the same number.
It's the same number.
No. Then no.
Okay, no. No? Honorable, I'm going to disqualify you if you do that again. Yes. It's the same number.
No, it's 16.
It's the same.
16.
Yeah, it's the same. 16 in favor, 16 against. Yes? So I have a casting vote and I will vote in favor. Thank you. More. That's the end.
It's on the, it's the same on the centralized side.
It's on the 15. It's on the 15.
Yes. No, it's on, it's okay. Resume.
That's the head 15. It's on the head 15. The House... Thank you very much, honorable members. The assembly now resumes. Clerk.
Supplementary estimates of expenditure for the fiscal year 2018.
Thank you. May I now call upon the Honorable Minister to report to the Assembly the outcome of the Committee of the Whole House, please.
Honorable Speaker, I hereby report to this August Assembly that the supplementary estimate of expenditure having gone through the Committee of the Whole Assembly with amendments be approved.
Thank you very much, and I now put the question. It is reported that the supplementary estimates of expenditure 2018 having gone through the Committee of the Whole House with amendments be approved. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. No. So the ayes have it. No, obviously the ayes have it. No, please. Let's not waste too much. Obviously the ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, for justice case, please count.
Honorable member, please, for Central Badibu,
yes.
Can I preside over the proceedings of this assembly? Please, with your permission. Yes. Clerk, can we proceed, please?
Bill, Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018 by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs.
Thank you. Honorable Minister. The what? There will be no debate because it's already approved. Yeah, but he needs to.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I would like to submit on behalf of the government of the Gambia the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018 for consideration and approval by the National Assembly. The legal requirement for the presentation of supplementary appropriation SAP is provided for under Part 5, Subsection 30, 1 and 2 of the Public Finance Act 2014. The 2018 budget principles were fiscal prudence, consolidation, and ensuring debt sustainability and growth. Its parameters were anchored on a target deficit 2% of GDP equivalent to 922 million Gambian dollars and a net domestic borrowing of 1.09% of GDP equivalent to $570.7 million. As a result of certain unplanned expenditure incurred by the government of the Gambia, such as the outbreak of the foot and mouth disease, the additional allowances paid to teachers and nurses, shortage of medicines at the hospital, rising fuel prices, higher than expected expenditure incurred in various commissions, JANE commissions, Constitutional Review commissions, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We have reached a point where by certain budget line items will have to be augmented in order to continue the effectiveness and efficient implementation of government activities. Despite these challenging developments, the macro-fiscal fundamentals remain strong. However, certain key pressure areas require urgent action and are hereby highlighted below. Personnel emoluments. Personnel emoluments registered an increment of 27% on a year-to-year basis. The bulk of the increment is attributed to the reinstatement of previously dismissed personnel by the previous regime, coupled with the fact that some of the reinstated personnel have been paid their personal emolument areas for the duration of time they were dismissed. Furthermore, there were more postings to the foreign missions than budgeted for, and this also contributed to the shortfalls. Finally, the amount of resources budgeted for the increment of transport-related allowances, car transport allowances in particular, was insufficient due to sheer number of applicants we received during the course of the year. The settlement of these personal emoluments are of utmost importance in order to pay the salaries of teachers and members of the security forces, namely the Ministry of Defense and Interior for the month of December. Total amount we need for personal emoluments is $154,906,707 million to the establishment of new agencies. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the Commission of Inquiries into the Financial Dealings of the former President, the Constitutional Review Commission, the Faraba Banta Commission, and the Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation panel of investigators, which had no budgetary provisions or were seriously under-budgeted for warranted the pre-financing of their activities through violence from other existing line items, registering a shortfall of $236.14 million Gambian dollars. Transfers and subsidies. The government of the Gambia provides for electricity, water, farm inputs, and agricultural commodities through subsidies and transfer to support the operation of state-owned enterprises, in particular, the Gambia National Food Processing and Marketing Corporation, GGC, and NAWEC, amounting to Gambian dollars $402.6 million. For NAWEC, these sums are needed to settle the ITFC facility of over $4 million, and failure to bail out the company NAWEC to settle this facility would result in the suspension, non-disbursement of all Islamic Development Bank projects across the country, ranging across a wide range of sectors such as agriculture, education, infrastructure, and energy. Whereas the transfers to GGC pertains to settling the fertilizer subsidy incurred during the last trading season, failure to settle the subsidy could lead to delays in the annual importation of fertilizer and seeds for farmers across the country. Airlifting of Cuban doctors. There is urgent need to transport the current Cuban doctors back to Cuba for their annual leave as stipulated on their contracts. This will be 2 missions to Cuba, with the first taking some for their annual holidays, whereas the other flight will go and pick the new doctors assigned to the Gambia. The total cost for chartering of these 2 flights is Gambian dollars is $28,471,700. Conclusion. Thus, I submit to the National Assembly for consideration a supplementary appropriation bill in the sum of $585 million, is 936,285.76. The additional expenditure will be financed through our own domestic resources already mobilized and lodged at the Treasury main account at the Central Bank. Honorable Speaker, we have attached all the descriptions to the statement.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Any seconder? Yes, Lower Salum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion with amendment. With the bill with amendment. Yeah.
As amended.
It has been. No, it's okay. We are putting that for consideration.
Sorry. It has been moved and seconded that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018 be read a second time and considered. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Now, it's for consideration. So I don't know what the problem is with honorable members. Honestly, actually it's open for debate. Anybody who wishes to make an intervention, yes, that is the normal procedure, but the estimates have already been approved with amendments, so it's just an extract. If there is no debate, we go straight to committee stage then and do whatever we're supposed to do. The Assembly will now go into the committee stage of the whole Assembly to consider the bill head by head as provided for under the supplementary estimates that we have just approved. So the table office, can we get to work? Let's just allow him to finish with the...
First one.
Yes.
So I'm doing a lead process, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. Start with the first one.
Honorable members, I'm suggesting that let's start with clause 1, the short title.
Yes. Clause 1.
Short title. It is proposed that clause 1, short title of the bill, stands part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. May I, honorable members, suggest that we suspend clause 2 until we finish the other heads, because the figure will change automatically, yes. Thank you very much. So, no, we're starting with 07, head 07, Minister of Defense.
Head 07.
Thank you very much. It is proposed that head 07, Minister of Defense, can you give us the sum? Minister of Defense.
32,500,000 Gambian dollars.
Amend your figures. 32,000, sorry,
32 million.
32 million.
500,000.
500,000.
Yes.
You've got it? Yes. It is proposed that head 07, Ministry of Defense, in the sum of 32,500,000, stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. That's the sum. 08.
Head 08.
Thank you very much. It is proposed that head 08, Ministry of the Interior, in the sum of 373,055 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Yes, 15. Thank you. Centralized services. Thank you. Yes. It is proposed that head 015, centralized services, for the amount of, can we get the amount?
There are two amounts.
Okay. Amount of 252 million. The centralized services. Can we get the amount? We do. It is proposed that head 015, centralized services, in the sum of 402,551,877,000.76 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Thank you.
Head 020.
Basic education. Thank you. It is proposed that head 020, Ministry of Basic and Secondary education in the sum of 89,033,652 $, stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it.
Head 021.
That's the one that was not, that was the one that was rejected. Head 021 was rejected. Yes. So, but I'm not sure. Did we do 808?
Yes.
Head 08. That's interior. Interior education, defense, and centralized services. Yes. No, we are not done because we need to total the yes, and then we'll come back to. That is the total. Clause 2. Clause 2.
Clause 2.
Thank you. It is proposed that Clause 2, additional expenditure of $557,458,585.76 out of the authorized consolidated fund stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. The wordings will change here accordingly as well to reflect the sum of 557 million. Yes. So the House can now resume. We now resume. And this.
Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018.
On the Honorable Minister to report to the whole Assembly what transpired at the committee stage. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I hereby report to this August Assembly that the supplementary estimates of expenditure having gone through the Committee of the Whole House with amendments be approved. I'm sorry. Honorable Speaker, I report that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018 having gone through the Committee of the Whole Assembly with amendments be read the third time and passed.
Sorry, it is reported that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018, having gone through the Committee of the Whole Assembly with amendments, be read a third time and passed. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. And on that note, may I now put the question, thank you very much, honorable members and honorable minister and team. The question is, be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned till Monday, the 24th of December, 2018. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the Assembly now stands adjourned till Monday, the 24th of December, 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we'll have to take you home. I know, where do you live?
I will just take a taxi to Cooperative.
Medic.